This is A New Nigeria with Wale Oluwade. This is your current affairs program where we critically examine the strategic issues that bedevil Nigeria's developmental aspirations and boldly offer simple, practical, but audacious ideas on building the Nigeria of our collective desires. On today's episode of the program, I have a guest with whom we shall be talking about his proposed restructuring. Well, let me not use the word restructuring because that's a much bandied about word. He has novel ideas on returning Nigeria to the system of government we practiced, right after independence. So he is here for us to examine in details, some of the provisions of his proposed bill. But before then, here is my take on what I've titled Tragedy at the National Assembly. A senior staff of the Nigerian Customs Service, ITOP Andrew Essien, Deputy Controller, Finance and Administration, or Finance and Accounts, slumped and sadly died just a couple of days ago while making a presentation before the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts. First, I extend my deepest condolences to the family, loved ones, and colleagues of the deceased, and also to all Nigerians who had to, watch while that man requested for a glass of water, only for us to learn, that a few minutes or so thereafter, he passed on. Now, I believe this was a tragedy that was clearly avoidable, if only we're a country where human life is truly sacred and accorded the premium value it deserves. This tragedy wouldn't be the first of its kind in the National Assembly precincts, either by visitors or members. Now, this is the 21st century, for God's sake. The rest of the civilized world have mastered these seeming intractable problems, and I'll give two quick examples here. In March 2012, the football star Fabrice Mwamba suffered a cardiac arrest during a televised FA Cup match between Bolton Wanderers and Tottenham Hotspurs, from which he recovered, despite his heart having stopped for an entire 78 minutes, 1 hour, 18 minutes. Fabrice Mwamba died for 1 hour, 18 minutes, and yet he made full recovery. Now, following medical advice, he announced his retirement from professional football, but then later completed a degree in sports journalism before making a return to football as a youth coach currently with Bolton. Also, in June 12, 2021, Christian Eriksen, Danish football star, collapsed, having suffered a cardiac arrest on the field in a match against Finland. He was revived and also made full recovery. And guess what? It was at the 2022 Qatar World Cup. Also, he resumed full professional football career in the English Premier League. And currently, as I speak here, is playing at the Euro Championships in Germany. So here's my simple recommendations for the leadership of the National Assembly for their urgent implementation, consideration and implementation, to prevent these absolutely needless and painful fatalities from reoccurring. Number one, we need to deploy a team of well-trained medical personnel with full complements of modern equipment at every meeting where MDAs appear for presentation. Secondly, once these persons from whatever MDAs arrive and before they begin their presentations, there is a need for the medical personnel to take their vital statistics, meaning blood pressure, sugar, and cholesterol levels, etc. Now, this process should be repeated intermittently during the period of their presentation. It's not enough to do that before presentation. Even maybe after 30 minutes or 1 hour, you need to do a repeat of those checks. Number three, ensure the procurement and maintenance in ready-to-deploy emergency ambulances to evacuate patients to specialized medical facilities whenever the need arises. These foregoing simple suggestions are what saved Fabrice Mwamba and Christian Eriksen and many others around the world. Our society should not be an exemption. And that's my take. I'll take this short break, and when I return, I'll sit down with my guests and we'll get into the conversation. Please stay with us. Welcome back. My guest today is not new on the program. Dr. Akin Fakponda is a retired federal civil servant, retired as the director of the Federal Civil Service of Nigeria. He's an agronomist, an agriculturist, an educationist also. Doctor, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, viewers.
Nice to have you again on the program.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Doc, I've seen you for some weeks now speaking to this novel document, your idea basically, which I heard you saying you want to send to the president so that it will be sent to the National Assembly as an executive bill. A copy of this you sent to me, and I perused it. A new Nigerian constitution, which is I find quite interesting. Can you briefly educate the viewers?
Basically, I've sent a copy of expanded document, 58 pages, to the office of the president. I copied the Senate president. I copied the Speaker of the House of Representatives. My thesis is very simple. At a point in time in Nigeria had money, unlimited money, in the 70s. On that basis, the leaders just broke Nigeria down into bits and bits and bits and bits because everybody wants to be a governor, everybody to be chairman of local government. And we now, at the point where we have 36 states, 74 local governments. At this point, we are now insolvent. There is no money to maintain the bureaucracy again. That's the real issue. Because this government has just borrowed about $4.5 billion, and they want to borrow more. So who is going to pay all these debts? And it's just to finance the bureaucracy of Nigeria. We have to reaggregate what we have disaggregated now, if we are really serious, unless we are living in fool's paradise. That's the first thesis. The second thesis is that, look, this country is very vast. We just have, the people in the Northeast, they are not people in the Southwest. The people in the Northwest, they are different from people in the Southeast and South-South. The terrain is different. So we belong to broad regions that have different characteristics. Culture, even the terrain. A kilometer of road in Northeast is not the same thing as a kilometer of road in the South-South. So why are we not facing reality of the way we are? That we are just different. And yet we can be in diversity and still be a good country. But running us in one command and control system in Abuja, it has not worked, and it's not working. The third thesis is that in a federation, there are always two tiers. Nigeria cannot be an exception. Federal tier and then the regional tier. In Nigeria, the states now don't have their own character. They have no constitution. They don't know who they are. Whereas we're supposed to have a federal constitution and then have regional constitutions. Even if you are serious, if you use the term states, states in other countries also have their own constitutions. We don't have it now. So we need to cure that defect of having a federal constitution, very slim, and then each sub-nationality should have its own constitution.
Okay, Doc, before you go too far, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to go too far so that I will not remember. You've mentioned three key premises of your thesis of this bill.
Yes.
Especially when you start talking about the first one is the system is so bureaucracy, is purely, essentially bureaucracy, and we're just wasting money. There's no money for development. Even the money to sustain the bureaucracy is no longer there.
Absolutely.
Secondly, diversity. We're so different in cultures, in tradition, in religion, in landscape. That's our climate, everything, we're different.
Forest.
But then thirdly, which is one that is very sensitive, is that, and I understand that, okay, the federal has a constitution, but the states don't have a constitution. And actually, we need a two-tier system of government. But, you know, it's a bit sensitive. So, but let me ask two quick questions to assuage the fears and anxieties of someone who is already saying, oh, look at these two Yoruba people, you know, want to dismember this country. Prof, up front, are you seeking to dismember Nigeria from the rear? Quick answer, so that I would like to continue.
There are examples in the world.
Yes.
Canada is, all Nigerians are running to Canada.
Okay.
Canada is even maybe 20 times Nigerian size.
Absolutely, in terms of land.
But they have 10 provinces. Each province is on its own, and they are still Canadians. They have the same flag. Even Quebec speaks French. They don't speak English totally. And they are allowed to speak their French. It's not a threat to the English area.
Yeah.
Alberta is another province. They have oil. They don't share their oil with other provinces. They pay federal tax, but oil belongs to Alberta people. So it's just a rainbow.
We were doing that in Nigeria before anyway. It was the military that messed up everything.
If you have, there are going to be schedule of functions. Federal system will have its own functions. The region will have their own function, and they will make laws and they make constitutions based on that. One thing that my approach will cure is take even a state now. Everything by convention. Whereas each region can have a constitution where it says, how do you rotate power, even in the regions. It's now left as convention. And anybody can say, no, it's our turn. Look at what's happening in Edo State now. Will the governor go to Edo Central or Edo North or Edo South? It's left to congestion. But if they had a constitution where they are negotiated how Edo State, the former Bende,
it has become a law.
It has become a law, and they all understood it. Then there's no question somebody coming on and say, oh, it's our turn in the North, in the Edo North, it's our turn, and then you start using all manner of, in fact, this is what opens the ethnicization of all politics. If you already knew when your turn is, you'll be grooming yourself to say, in 2027, it is South, and everybody will look in the South, Midwest to say, let's get the best out of Midwest, because we now know constitutionally in that area is their turn.
Excerpts from the document you sent to me is on the screen, Doc. A part of it I find quite interesting is the map, the new proposed map of Nigeria. Can you speak? I see 8 regions.
Yeah.
What informed these 8 regions? What informed these new 8 regions, Doc?
It's not my creation.
Okay.
There's a new body that I've been meeting for the last 1 year.
Is it official or is it just an informal?
It's a socio-political body.
Okay.
Coalition of indigenous ethnic nationalities.
Comprised of?
Comprised of all possible, at least about 24 ethnic nationalities are represented.
Wow. Okay.
Our chairman is Professor Okaba, is the president of Ijo.
Professor?
Okaba.
Okaba, okay.
And Timothy Gando is from Southern Sokapu.
Okay.
I'm representing Southwest, like that.
Okay.
So we gave thought.
What of the North, East, Northwest, and?
They're all there.
Okay.
They're all there. We gave thought to the way things are presently. There is so much injustice in the system. It is known that the Okuns of Kogi do not belong to North Central. It is known that this Zulu area of Kebbi State do not belong to the Northwest. It's known, Southern Kaduna, of course, does not belong to Northwest either. Southern Yobe, Southern Bauchi, Southern Borno, Gombe. It's known, but they are just mixed together where they will have no voice, where they will have no rights. Let's face the reality that these people belong to the Middle Belt. That's why they are.
Where there is homogeneity of tradition,
attitude,
culture,
everything.
you know.
The jaws are spread into 5 states. There's no reason for it. It's a means of disenfranchising them so that they cannot.
They spread their population so thin.
They are so large, but there are minorities everywhere.
Exactly.
So we have to cure. Once we keep sitting over this injustice, we will never have peace, no matter what will happen. So let's face the reality.
So mention each of these. I can see. I mean, it's
in the region now. First of all, nomenclature is even wrong. Nothing like South-South.
Okay.
So now we corrected the nomenclature. There is northeast, there is northwest, there is east middle belt, west middle belt.
Okay.
And whether we like it or not, east middle belt is essentially mainly Christian area. Benue, Plateau, Taraba, Adamawa, majority. In the western part,
Western
Niger, middle belt, Niger, southern Kebbi, north of Kogi, is essentially also flavored Muslim. It's just a fact. We can't change the way we are. So then those ones belong to two regions in effect. The western region is known to be desirous of having its own region. The south, the same. The southeast, the same. Across this area, there's parts of Benue that we feel they are part of the southeast. There are parts of maybe rivers, people feel they are southeast. The map is not set in granite. It's not set that it cannot be changed.
Absolutely.
The map is for discussion. There'll be 1 year long program for people to decide where they want to belong on either divide. It's not that say I'm a military general that have decreed. I just announced on NTA that this is what should be. No. But it's a thoughtful outcome of what we have done.
A result of deliberations.
But then people are free to move to one side or the other side. The freedom is there. So now I put you in one place, or we put you in one place, you are free to say by plebiscite, maybe 60% vote. You say no. Even the Okuns can say no, we want to still stay where we are. They have choice. But the system now will give everybody the chance to decide. And in my document, even if you decide now, in 5 years, if you feel you made the wrong decision, there's room there for you to reverse your decision.
Wow.
So it's not that once you are put in one place, you cannot move forever. No.
This is purely about the economy, talking about what each of these eight proposed regions can leverage on without depending on, when I look through it, interestingly, I didn't see agriculture, I didn't see crude oil. Well, you only put solid minerals, gold, talc, and so speak to this briefly before we take a break.
Basically, because we just dug our teeth into crude oil and we ignored everything else.
We lost focus.
Gold is more valuable than crude oil. Gold is permanent, stays forever.
Absolutely.
In the Northwest, they have gold. In abundance. And it's their resource, and they need to focus on that. Leave crude oil alone. And the other, look, you don't even know, all of us, we don't know that when you have a truck carrying sand for construction, it's a mineral, you have to charge for it. Somebody has to pay to mine sand.
It's a natural resource.
So, and it's not free. But for now, people just carry some 10-tire truck to a place and load sand. We value the resource we see on top of the ground. Every resource is of value. By the time you value what you have, you will know that you are not poor. Absolutely. So where agriculture is giving. I didn't talk about it. But solid minerals is a new concept that we need to drive into our consciousness. And it has a lot of value. The Chinese are all over in Nigeria. They are mining solid minerals. The one we don't even know.
Absolutely.
So every part of Nigeria have a strategic resource if they leverage on it and they price it. By the way, if you are from Kano, you are selling tomatoes, you put a price on a tomato, whoever wants to buy, free to buy it. That's all you have. If you have cocoa, you put a price on your cocoa. It's a change. It's not robbery. But every part of Nigeria have a resource to exchange and to sell.
Brilliant. Doc, let's take a short break. We'll take this short break. And when we return, we'll continue with the conversation. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Doc, a brilliant introduction you gave, but you've not told us how is the government going to operate? What's the new proposed government, the structure, how is it going to operate?
The current system, you cannot convince any Nigerian that you have not got money illegally to run. because there's no
to
run for office.
Okay.
You cannot claim that you work for 100 million naira to pay for a form, and you spend 50 million naira per state to do rallies.
So how has this new proposal cured that defect?
New proposal now is that first, in the 8 regions, they have right to decide on who will represent them.
At the federal.
And the election is local.
It's local to the
region. Nationwide election, no statewide election anymore.
Oh, wow.
So from that point on, you now have electoral college. So to cure the problem of censors that we are not in agreement since 1950, the 8 regions should be treated equally. So let's assume 8 regions will bring 20 representatives to the National Assembly, 160. That 160...
Bicameral or unicameral National Assembly?
One cameral.
One assembly.
That 160, among themselves, there should be enough people of goodwill that can serve as prime minister.
How is this prime minister?
It will be elected by the first 1 week or 2, 3, 4 weeks of assembly. You exchange CVs of who is good and all that, and you decide on who will be first among equals, not superior, not executive president. And he himself will now nominate members of that assembly also as ministers. So they all have elected credentials from home. And they are now serving in the executive.
But we cure this defect or this current problem of we have 47 or 48 ministers, then we have 360 members of the National Assembly.
All ministers will be in the assembly. There's questions, you can be questioned every day. Even prime minister.
Prime minister's question and answer day, one day a week.
Every day. So not that you invite president and say he doesn't want to come. No, he's a member
because he's bigger than everybody, he's a monarch.
And the solution I've proposed also is that all members of parliament must be remunerated by their regions. There's no money for them in Abuja. Each is like you are a delegate to United Nations in New York.
Wow.
So each of your region will pay your salary, they will pay your emoluments, whatever. So there will be diversity. Because each region can pay whatever they want. So that again means you actually have a linkage with your region. Not that
it's actually easy for the region to recall you. They can control you and say you are now serving, so
Once the legislators make a resolution 2/3 in that region to say, Mr. X, you are not having an interest in Abuja,
come back.
They withdraw you and they replace you, and nobody has right to question that. Each region will be autonomous to decide on who represent them. So that alone cures
so many things. But before I forget my train of thought, Doc, what happens to local governments or the current states? Because if we now say we have 8 regions, so we're talking about a region now. What happens? How is administration in the regions?
And if
Doc, do this quickly so that we can
in the regions now, regions are liberal to do whatever they want. But initially, the boundaries of the states will be retained for the fact that we already know Oyo, Ogun, Ondo. But then we'll downside the administration. It will not, instead of executive governors, we are going to have provincial administrators. It will be model maybe after FCDA, Federal Capital Development Authority. It will be technical body to run the provinces, not to have another set of assembly members. No, it will be technical person that will be running provinces for development, not
purely
for
development,
not for politics, not for politics at all. If you create provinces, you create divisions, you create districts, but overall, it will be based on your own revenue. There is no money coming from anywhere. So some province might decide to have 1 administrator province and maybe 3 others supporting. Another one might say 5. It depends. So, and you might have a provincial administrator in charge of mining, you might have in charge of agriculture, in charge of IT. So there have been no, those have commissioners.
Because actually, what you're saying now just made me realize that's actually what's happening in the FCT. That's the system in the FCT.
Yeah.
That's the template in the FCT.
That's what we adopt nationally. So it's not going to be executive governor anymore. We have only 1 premier in each region. Only 1. So there'll be 8 premiers.
That's the only one who is elected.
It's only one who is elected.
So every other sort of structure or administrative is just administrative. Purely administrative and public service.
Public service, and with unified salary scale.
Geared essentially towards development, service delivery.
Salary scale the same. There's no special salary for anybody.
Salary scale peculiar to each
area.
Region. based on their capacity, whatever they decide and all of
Because
that.
they are depending on taxes.
Absolutely.
The people are paying
Revenue
taxes.
they're able to generate plus taxes they're able to collect from the people.
That's it. And they pay only sufficient to federal
Taxes
level.
to the federal government to maintain the police, the security.
So federal government
and
will
all of that.
say in 2027 or 2026, we shall need 2 trillion.
Yeah.
There'll be a meeting of all the regions to say, how do we share this 2 trillion that we're going to contribute?
The premiers, the 8 premiers,
they will
with
meet
the
and
Prime
say,
Minister.
allocate what each region will contribute to maintain federal system. So the region will maintain federal system, not the other way around.
Fantastic.
Not the other way around.
Fantastic.
Not the other way around.
Fantastic. Okay, brilliant. I mean, I'm mightily impressed with this because a couple of times I saw you on TV, I didn't get this much clarification. So this is brilliant. But Doc, this is a form of critique now. You know, among informed circles, the general consensus is that the future prognosis for this country is rather bleak.
Absolutely. If you don't change.
And this is purely based on the behavior and proclivities of the ruling class. So my question is constitution or structure the problem of Nigeria? And is it a silver bullet that once we go back to this, what you're proposing, whether it's 8 regions or 6 regions, is that a silver bullet? Or, because among informed circles, what has been identified, like I just mentioned, as the problem of Nigeria are the kinds of people we have in our ruling class.
I don't agree, because the same Nigerians, if you land in Heathrow Airport today, the system makes you to behave. You are just out of line. And as I said now, if you are elected, if I want to run for election now, from Ilesha, where I'm from, I can only run from there. I don't need millions to do so.
Yeah.
So then, if I commit 200 million to an election, if I come to Abuja, I need to rent a house, I need to buy a car, I need to... Then
you need to travel all over.
Then you need to prepare for the next election.
Yes.
But if you, in the 60s, headmasters, Adjacent was an head of a secondary school.
Of course.
You just go knocking door like, okay, there are election in Britain now.
Yes.
You knock doors to campaign. You don't need to go around the whole of UK to run. To have a seat.
No. In the
a
British
seat
Parliament.
in the Parliament. So if you don't invest 200 million of your money, stolen or not stolen, you will not be constrained to look for money.
Your point is noted, but here, let me dig further. These are some of the arguments. Take the case of Zamfara. Look at the crisis in Zamfara, Doc. Banditry for 11 years or 12 years thereabouts, that has rendered that state almost ungovernable. Now, they don't present students for WAEC. I know there were 2-3 years ago that they didn't present a single student for WAEC. So education, out of school children, high. Maternal infant mortality, high. Poverty, mass poverty, high. Now, they had a new governor. And this new governor believed, he was crying, he was on TV making noise that, insecurity, the federal government is not assisting him, they can quash insecurity, banditry in 2 weeks. But then, the next day, or the next week, I saw this guy, with the Minister for Aviation, commissioning the building of a 62-point-something billion airport.
I understand.
Doctor,
I saw it.
Is that not a failure? Is that not the point about the mindset, the behavioral attitude of the ruling class?
The ruling class is that if I want to run for a governor in Nigeria now,
yes,
how I get to be that governor is personal. How I get money to do it, I'm on my own totally.
Yes.
So when I get there, I'll say, look, you don't know I got there. I got there on my own. Whoever financed me, Godfather, whatever. It's the effect of Godfatherism.
I have to make money to pay back the
former governor had 50-something vehicles recover for him. The system we have now means you are not responsible to no one. But in the parliament system, your colleagues in parliament voted doing as premier. You didn't do station-wide. So the system will be different. But in Zamfara, you mentioned in the Northwest, if the region decides today to put everybody in school from September, everybody in regular school and vocational school, because devil's workshop is the
idle hand.
So they have not been going to for the last 20 years. So somebody is 20 now, has to be a bandit. But if you mop everybody up, issue ID card, everybody, you must know where you are, and be in school at whatever age, invest in education, invest in vocational skills, you mop up people who are free to be recruited into all these things. But you cannot just be saying you want to use kinetic means to just, no, people are hungry, they have to work. If they invest in official gold mining in that area, give them kits, not using bare hand to mine gold, everything will change. But we are pretentious. Until we want to solve our problems, it will never go away.
Okay, Doc, let's hit the nail on the head, or let's really deal with the crux of the matter. So this is just a proposal that you've sent to the president, and you want him to send it to the National Assembly. You even sent a copy to the Senate president anyway, and the speaker. So I'm sure you're an academician. So you are sure that you are saying to the president, the Senate president, the speaker, to remove themselves, to take away food from their mouth. Is that what you're saying?
No. You see, what is food? If you have 100 million...
I'm using a colloquial expression.
If I have 100 million to run for office, why can't I have 100 million to set up a secondary school?
The reason why I'm asking this, we're Nigerians and we must face reality. Let me be more upfront. This set of people you have mentioned, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, let me mention their names. Senator Godswill Akpabio, the Speaker, Taju Abbas. Are they the sort of leaders you think would say, I would put the interest of this country, so gentlemen, let us sit down and pass this new bill for the sake of Nigeria? Do you see that happening?
Human beings are human beings. Lyndon Johnson was president of the United States.
Yes.
When there was so much chaos in the 62,
yes,
he was forced to sign the Bill of Rights.
Absolutely.
It was signed. There are many things he signed because he just said the time has come to have a change.
Ending segregation, voting rights for
women equality and all that. It happened because Kennedy was shot.
Exactly.
And the two Kennedy were shot.
King and all of that.
So we don't want to wait until people are assassinated before we make this change. I wrote a very beautiful letter to Mr. President accompanying my document.
Yes.
I don't need to disclose it to the public. But
No, you don't.
if you read that letter, he has a challenge to be a statesman. I made the point there that, Mr. President, even if it will cost you so-called second term, as we are talking about Lyndon Johnson in America now, we will talk about you in years to come. But if you let Nigeria go into 2027 with the same 100 million naira form, 50 million naira, then, well, history will also judge. But I believe he is a well-mannered person. At this point, he will appraise the issues and decide in favor of himself, in favor of Nigeria.
Lastly now, what would be your response to aides of the president, politicians in the president's party, APC, and some other politicians who are already, in fact, I saw a politician in APC is preparing for 2027 already, mobilizing people for re-election of the president in 2027, who believe that nothing is wrong with Nigeria. It's that, in fact, Nigeria is making progress. Inflation rate is coming down. Mass poverty is reducing. All the indices that you can use to measure progress is improving. What would you say to that?
We are part of humanity. And USSR, Gorbachev decided as a lone head of USSR, he decided in favor of glasnost. It's a lonely thing. If you're a president, everything rests on your shoulders. If you decide, okay, Jonathan decided also to say, President Buhari, I concede. It's personal, it's a decision, and it's living by it up today. So in the same way, somebody has to carry the can to say, I will do something different.
If the president says, I want to do this, and the 36 state governors who enjoy this power, in 3 months they spent 1 trillion naira on personal benefits, on refreshments. What if they tell Mr. President, you cannot do this, we will not agree?
Well, okay, at least, why can't people choose to walk away?
As we round up now, are you making efforts to go around the National Assembly members, to go around the state to sensitize? Maybe you have a body that will do sensitization on TV and all of that.
What I'm doing is very infinitesimal, but the document was deliberately put out first for Nigerians to see the merit of what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
The document now belongs to all Nigerians. It's not me alone. I know I've been on
and that's why we're doing this. That's why I reached out to you that we should do this.
It's not mine. In fact, it's no longer mine. It's Nigerians. If you want change, it's for all of us. God bless Nigeria.
A nice place to rest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you.
And I want to wish you well. And I mean, I'm so inspired that at your level I mean, you are retired and you should be, you just came back from Canada. You should be enjoying yourself, but you're still concerned about the future of this country.
Absolutely.
I pray that God will give us more, of your type. Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you,
Now,
first.
that's the end of the program today. But before I go, like I always say, we need your support to keep this program on air. If I wasn't the anchor producer of this program, this would be one of my, if not my most, preferred TV program because of the incisive analysis, the rich content, and the depth and breadth, the scope of the topics that we discuss dispassionately in the interest of building a new Nigeria. So I'm soliciting for sponsorship and advertisement to keep this program going. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can watch this video and every other video that's there. The full uncut version of this particular episode will be on my YouTube and TikTok platforms. You can watch them there. Drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.